Hello, it's Ukulele Saz. This is another Christmas special on the ukulele. Today we're doing Santa Claus is Coming to Town. It's a chord melody. It's something a little bit different. Let's jump in and let's get started on this one. If you like this video, give it a little like, leave me a comment, tell me what you like about it. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you'll get notified each week whenever I release a new video. And if you really like my stuff, you can join me on BuyMeCoffee, where you'll get access to all of the lesson materials and resources, weekly challenges. I even do a monthly online live group lesson as well. So if you'd like to join in on that too, then don't forget to check that out at Ukulele Saz. Santa Claus is Coming to Town. You might know how to play that by melody. You might know how to play it with chords. But do you know how to play the chord melody? The first question is, what exactly is a chord melody? Well, a chord melody, so that it makes sense to you, is when we play the chords, but we also play the melody on top. So rather than just playing or, we play both. So you can hear the chord notes harmonising with the melody, so it gives the song a little bit more life, it makes it sound a little bit more full, and it means that you don't need somebody to accompany you because you can do it all by yourself. Now, chord melodies are really tricky, they are very difficult, and you have to have a good understanding of the different elements individually before you're able to bring these together. That's what I'm going to show you today. I'm not going to take you bar by bar, step by step through this whole chord melody. Instead, I am going to give you a few ways to learn this. I'm going to show you a couple of examples of bits of the song, and I'm going to basically help you lay the foundation so that you can actually go and try this for yourself. So probably a slightly different approach to how you would watch most tutorials on YouTube. But again, I'd like to hear your feedback on that and tell me if you think that's helpful, and tell me if there's anything more that you would like to see when I do this type of video. So if you'd like to, you can check out the full video as well of me performing it, so you've got an idea of how it sounds too. So if I show you the music of this song here, you'll see that, oh, that looks a little bit scary, especially if you haven't read sheet music before and you're not familiar with musical notation. So I will draw your attention to a couple of things. Now you can see here that we've got chords written on there, we've got melody notes on there, there's music notes on there, and a couple of other weird musical symbols. First of all, you can see that we are in 4/4 timing, which means that there are 4 beats in the bar. We count to 4, we'll probably know that by now. And each of these little lines that you can see that I have highlighted all represent your count of 4. So that's an important thing to know for your timing. Secondly, the chords. So the chord names are above the chord, so you can, are above the bar. It might be that you play G for a couple of bars, it might be that you play C for just one, so just be aware to check and see how many bars the G chord covers before it changes to the next chord. So that's another good thing to know. You can see that we've got some interesting chord diagrams up at the top, which I will get back to you about just very shortly. And there's also a couple of little musical instructions on there as well. We've got our repeat signs. Repeat signs mean that when you get to these 2 little dots and the 2 lines, we then boing right back to the start again, or back to where the first repeat sign was. So for example, that first section, we play that through twice. This also happens at the end of the song as well, and at the tiny little section at the end. What I will also draw your attention to is the fact that there's a 1 and a 2 near those repeat signs. What that means is the first time round you play 1, the second time round you skip the bar with the 1 over it, and instead you play the bar with the 2 over it, so second time round. So that's some of your musical instructions, especially when looking at my video of me playing it. This sheet will be really useful to have in front of you. And in fact, a really useful thing that you can do is while I'm playing, you can see if you can follow along the music. You can see single notes, so you can see, for example, the first note is a 5, and then after that you can see the 2, 3, 2, 0, 2, 3, 2, and then with a 5 on it, that means that you're playing a chord. Whenever you see the numbers vertical like that, that means you're playing those all at the same time. And the last thing I'll draw your attention to for the sheet music is that when you are looking at the notes, they are directly above the melody note that you play. So when we have a look at the 5, you'll see that that's a little half beat note. In fact, this is actually a little interesting thing as well. This is called an anacrusis, which means that actually this first note 5 starts before we count in. So like happy birthday to 1, 2. So you've got a little note that starts. So you 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that little note starts slightly early. So when we play that first G, it's half a beat and there's 2 of those. So 1 and. Now don't get yourself too caught up in the musical notes, and the reason for that is we can get to that later. There's already a lot going on this sheet. So what I want you to really think about is your ears and listening to the song. Most of us know Santa Claus is coming to town, and I expect that's why you're here, because you know that song already. So use what you know of that song and try not to overthink the exact timing of each. Try and just follow the tune as much as you can in your head, and that will hopefully help you as well. What's really cool is you can actually work backwards. You can work backwards from the tune and see if you can make sense of the notes that way. But again, I'll do many more videos on music notation and how to make sense of that in the future too. But let me know in the comments if you would like me to do that and what specifically you would like to see. Now that we've had a little look at the sheet music, let's actually get started on playing the song. The first thing that I want us to have a look at with a chord melody are the chords. The chords are super important, and it's where we are going to build our melody notes from. Now in this song, what's really cool is we actually use G, and we use the G chord shape. So the G chord is just a major chord shape, and as we move it up, we actually increase a musical letter. So that's a lesson for another day, but basically what we're going to be using is G, where we would normally play G. We need C in the G shape on frets 7 and 8, so we just slide it on up. We need D, which is 2 frets up from that, and then we need E, which is 2 frets up from that. Now I am very careful not to play this G note at the top because I have a low G string, so it doesn't sound great. For the C chord, it still plays a C, but if we play D and E, then it doesn't quite sound the same. It just sounds a little bit off, so try and just use these 3 strings. So we've got G, C, D, and E. So those shapes we want to be really comfortable with changing to and from. So that's your kind of first step, is to get used to those shapes. Because when we play the song, we've got G, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4. And that's how we play the verse. 3, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3. You better not, but I'm telling you why. Nice and easy, isn't it? That's the first step. For the Santa Claus is coming to town part, we play G and E minor, A, D, 7, G, and sometimes G7 when we repeat. So G, E minor, A minor, D7, G, sometimes D7. So we just play a little bit of chords down here, which are nice and easy, and we play it up and down here. So you better not shout, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. The cool thing is we build the melody notes around that. The next part of the chords are, we've got D, 2, 3, 4, C, 2. He knows when you're awake. He will be D, 2, 3, 4, D, G, da, 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 and then back into the first section again. So as you can see, it's mostly up and down here, and then we've got that little bit with a G, A minor, D7, G. So really get comfortable with those chords first. Play it around with it, strum away, see if you can hear the tune in your head, because that's going to help lead us on to the next part. Next part is the rhythm. The rhythm is the actual flow of the song. Now when we play the rhythm, we want to be playing the vocal melody rhythm and playing the chords. Now I'm just going to mute my ukulele fretboard, and you're just going to strum what feels right, okay? So for example, you better not shout. So you better not shout. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. So how you would say the words, you're going to just strum, because that's when you're going to be hitting the notes. That's the rhythm and flow of the song. Normally I would draw your attention to the actual musical notes and the timing, 1 and 2, da. But we're not going to overcomplicate things. I want you to use your ears and listen as much as possible. Normally what happens is when you do know a song like this so well, you kind of forget the rhythm, but the rhythm is actually there to go back to so that you can really tidy up the timing, and that's when your counting really does come in, especially if you're playing with others. But that's for another day too. So spend a little bit of time in that. Okay, that really nicely drops us into step 3, which is actually playing the chords with the rhythm. Now some of this might not sound great because you can hear that the melody notes aren't there yet, but it's getting us there, trust me. So we've got, you better not shout, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why, Santa Claus is coming to town. Oh, I made a big mistake. He's making a list, he's checking it twice, he's gonna find out who's naughty or nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. And then he sees you when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake, he knows if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. Oh, you better not pout, and so on. So it might feel a bit strange doing that, but it's just getting you used to what the flow of the words are and which chord you're on as well. I kind of want you to throw a little bit of structure and timing out the window for this, because you know how the song goes, and hopefully that will help guide you in the direction of the chords as well. So that's what I would do with the rhythm and the chords. Now, you might not spend a huge amount of time on that, but it does really, really help, especially because the chord shapes are the bread and butter of this, and adding the melody notes is like adding the sprinkles on top. It's like adding that nice little frosting on the cake. I've been watching too many Christmas baking shows. We've got a rhythm, spend some time on that. Now let's add the melody notes. The melody notes are the tricky part. Now some people might play the melody note on its own. However, because this song uses the chord shape so much, I don't really think it's necessary too much, because we're just adding in some notes with this lovely little pinky here. If you don't have pinky strength, I suggest you do some little exercises to try and build some strength in it, because it really is a useful tool to have when it comes to playing chord melodies, especially for this. So watch how I play the first part. Now you can see that I'm adding the pinky for the different notes. Now, when we play the first bit, da, we're actually on the 5. Da, 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 da. I'm just practicing with the melody note first. Da, 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 da. And then da, da, ten, ten. You can also just make that simpler. You can go up, down, up, 5, 5, up, down, up, 10, 10, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down. Adding your pinky on the last down downs. Up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, 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 da, 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 da. And that last bit, strum, pinky on the E string for 10, 10, A, A, da, 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 da. You better not cry, you better not cry, I'm telling you why. Just like that. Cool, isn't it? And then your Santa Claus. What I'm actually doing for this part is quite cool. I'm doing one strum and then I'm picking the bottom 2 strings. So G, pick, E minor, pick, E minor, pick, D7, G, G, pick, E minor, pick, E minor, pick, D7, G, and then G7. So that's a nice little bit as well. When you play this, I don't want you to overcomplicate it for yourself. I want you just to have fun. If you're strumming and you maybe should be picking a single melody note but you've strummed it instead, that's fine. The whole idea is for you to have a little bit of a process to actually learn this in the first place. You're not going to get it perfect the first time. And it would be really difficult for me to teach this all in one video as well and go through every single teeny tiny step because we all pick up the information differently and learn it slightly differently as well. This is more just to give you the tools. Now for the tricky part of the song, he sees you when you're sleeping. The kids are always like, that bit's so creepy. Every single class say that whenever we learn this. Only my teenagers learn the chord melody. Most of the kids just learn easy strumming in C version. When we do the next bit, we need our pinky again, and we actually start on that G shape, but our pinky's coming directly underneath the ring finger. So it's on, right now it's on the 10th fret. And you can just strum the bottom 3 strings and watch my pinky. Strum, 12, 10, nothing, 10. So you've got, he sees you when you're 10, 12, 10, nothing, 10, C. 10, 12, 10, nothing, 10, C. And then up to E. And then it's the almost the exact same thing. Bam, bam. It is the same thing. Bam, 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 bam. So you're doing the exact same thing, just up a fret. But this time the numbers that we're on are 12, 14, 12, 11, 12, D. And the next bit, so you've got the E. Ba, 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 ba. That bit's a little bit trickier. You can also just practice playing the pinky. So don't worry about strumming, just play the melody note on its own. So for the beginning set, for that middle section of the song, which is the tricky fiddly part, you can just play the melody note just to practice, but maintain your fingers in this shape so that it's easier. And then once you've got that, you can then turn it into the chord strumming. You can decide, you can pick it all, you can strum it all, it's entirely up to you. So it is very footery, it isn't easy. Hopefully you can see why it's really important to have the chords first and have the timing in your head first before you start adding in the melody notes. The cool thing is the melody notes are all done with the pinky, so it's actually a really good song to help build up the strength, and it's really good practice to have that G shape in place and just practice playing on all the different frets and get used to playing up and down the fretboard. That's the 4-step process. You can see me now playing the song. A couple of last tips before you go, which are really important, are don't try and play this all at once because you will overwhelm yourself. Just practice one little section at a time. You might go da 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 da, and then you might practice it da 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 da. So practice all your little sections individually and then gradually start piecing them together. It won't happen overnight. You might take a section of the song and say, right, I'm going to go through that whole process. I'll maybe take the first 4 bars. But practice all of the steps that I said. So da 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 da. Okay, add the melody. And you might do it that way the full way through the song. You might take the full song and play the chords first. It's entirely up to you, but please break it down into sections that work for you. Treat it as a project. It's not going to happen overnight. But anyway, I hope you found this really useful. I hope you found it helpful for learning chord melodies in general, and I hope it's a video that you will go back to when you start to learn other chord melodies that you can then use as like a template and a tool for you to actually learn chord melodies in general. I know this was super long today, but again, it's on how to learn it, and there's a lot involved in a chord melody. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to check out my Buy Me a Coffee page for the full song sheet. I've also got lots of tips on there as well and some more information. And have a lovely Christmas, everybody. If you celebrate Christmas, if not, just enjoy the festive season. And I will see you the next time.